Seeing none, the honourable member from Drayton Valley-Calmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is an honour for me to rise today in the Legislature for the first time to speak on behalf of the constituents of Drayton Valley-Calmer in response to the throne speech, and I want to congratulate you for your election. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate all members for being elected. All members of this Assembly should be very proud of the work done and the sacrifices made in order to be here today. It is both an honour and a privilege to serve the people of Alberta, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you over the course of our mandate. Mr. Speaker, I am standing here today as a very proud, newly elected member for Drayton Valley-Calmer, and I am so pleased to recognise the contributions of my predecessors. Their hard work and dedication to the people of my constituency certainly deserves recognition and gratitude. Especially, I want to recognise the following 3 MLAs I have known and worked with over my 17 years in politics: Mrs. Shirley Cripps, Mr. Tom Thurber, and most recently, Reverend Tony Abbott. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank my family for their support. I truly appreciate the sacrifice they have made and the ones I know they will continue to make as I work to serve the people of my constituency who have placed their trust in me. I have such wonderful support from my husband, Jim, and our 4 amazing daughters, Kristen, Jacqueline, Melissa, and Courtney, and I am able to serve my province, our province, because of the dedication they have to public service as well. Our children have grown up with their mom and their dad, who was also a school board trustee, in public life, and so they have come to know the importance of servant leadership. I also want to thank my extended family. I am the youngest of 8 children, and my parents, Mary and Canute Jerline, were both immigrants to Canada. My father came to Alberta as a teenager from Norway with his brother Tom to be part of this wonderful province. After a few short years in Canada, Dad then went to war for our country, and it was in England during World War II where, as a young, handsome soldier, he met my beautiful mother, Mary O'Connor, a nurse from Ireland working in England during the war. As with many war brides, my mother came to join my father after the war to begin their life together and to help build our community in Drayton Valley and our province. My parents, like many of yours, are the true pioneers who have made this province such an amazing place for us to live, work, and to raise our families. To my parents and to all who have built this province, I salute you and I thank you. My father has since passed on, but I feel him and my mother with me many times where their wisdom, values, and guidance still rings true in my daily life. Mr. Speaker, with your acceptance, I dedicate this maiden speech to my husband Jim, our children, and to my parents for all they have done to help me along the way. I also want to recognize the hard work of my campaign team and volunteers who were so dedicated to helping and supporting me and worked tirelessly in my bid for the legislature. I have been overwhelmed and humbled by the outpouring of support from so many in our constituency and indeed across the province. In this, my first opportunity to address the Legislative Assembly, I would like to provide a little background information about the very special and beautiful constituency of Drayton Valley-Calmer. I am blessed to have such an amazing, diverse area to serve. We have the beautiful lakes, river valley, provincial parks and recreation areas, and many arts and recreation centres and activities. Like many other regions in Alberta, my riding sports extremely diverse economic sectors: agriculture, oil and gas, mining, forestry, retail trade, tourism, professionals, and the service industry are all integral components of the economy in Drayton Valley-Calmer. We also had many communities, which include towns, counties, villages, and summer villages. And I am very proud to say we're also very fortunate to have the Ermiskin, Louis Bull, and parts of the Buck Lake Reserves located in my constituency. There are approximately 30,000 residents in Drayton Valley-Calmer with a wide variety and diverse backgrounds and occupations. The people of Drayton Valley-Calmer are very hard-working, persevering people who want to do what the best they can to provide for their families. These are people who are willing to contribute to the betterment of their communities, and they have the true Alberta can-do attitude. They truly are also amazing volunteers who pull together for the betterment of all. Mr. Speaker, my interest in politics started at a very young age, with my father discussing, quite often passionately, the issues and policies, and I will age myself a bit here, Mr. Stanfield and Mr. Trudeau. My father, being a very strong Conservative, well, you can imagine the lively debates around the table when friends visited, and I always loved to listen and be involved in the debates. My older brother, Tim Gerline, who was also an elected official and chaired our local school board for many years, was the person, however, who first convinced me to run for office. As in his words, he saw in me the gifts and skills needed in an elected official. And so started my 17 years to date in politics. I started as a school board trustee and then chaired the school board before moving on to municipal politics. I served as a town councillor for 6 years before becoming mayor of Drayton Valley. I do believe my background gives me a special understanding of municipal and community issues and will enable me to have a great working relationship with communities that compose Drayton Valley-Calmer and, of course, our province. Mr. Speaker, as you and all members know, the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta delivered the speech from the throne on April 15th. Outlined in this speech were the 5 priorities that our Premier and indeed all of the Government caucus will work hard to achieve. We will focus on increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of the delivery of health care services within the Canada Health Act, as Albertans told us at the doors. I know the people of my riding want a health care system that continues to be there for them and their loved ones when they need it. And Albertans deserve and expect the best possible health care services that can be provided. And it will be our job to deliver, and I am confident that we will. The continued growth and prosperity of our province has presented us with unique opportunities and challenges. Our 20-year capital plan will ensure we keep up with the demands of our ever-increasing population and has placed on it and will continue to place on our infrastructure. All Albertans and indeed all Canadians have expressed time and time again about the importance of safe communities. I spent a great deal of time leading safe communities initiatives, and I am proud of our entire team, as these initiatives have proven great results, and I look forward to sharing those with my colleagues so that we can learn from each other and make our communities safer. We also need to continue to address the root causes of crime and to be proactive in our approach in crime prevention. As a resident of rural Alberta and growing up on our family farm, I understand the strains put upon our agricultural sector. We know that the beef industry and other agriculture sectors are struggling, and we need to find ways to work with our farmers and producers to deal with the short and long-term solutions to this problem. We need a strong, vibrant agriculture industry, and I'm committed to working with my government and the agricultural industry to find solutions and to implement them. An issue that has become increasingly important and is at the forefront of national and global media is the state of the environment. I can tell you this was a great issue in my election, and I was very proud to be able to share with my constituents our Premier's commitment to finding a balance between environmental stewardship and economic development and creating a Made in Alberta solution. That being said, Mr. Speaker, with my Norwegian ancestry, I will be looking to Norway and to other world leaders for examples of excellence that can be modelled into a Made in Alberta solution. Perhaps that will be part of my father's legacy for coming to Alberta. I thank Honourable Premier Stelmach in entrusting the position of Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Environment to my care. I understand the issues and grave responsibility of this portfolio, and I am privileged and honoured to be working with the Honourable Minister of Environment. We have been blessed with such a diverse and naturally breathtaking province, and it is our duty to leave it in a better place than we started for our children and grandchildren. Another issue I heard about time and again when I was door-knocking during the campaign was the importance of quality education and post-secondary education. Living in rural Alberta presents a unique series of problems for our youth. In order for our rural areas to thrive and be sustainable, we depend on the energy and vitality of our youth. Rural consortiums have become increasingly popular over the last number of years, enabling students and adults to take courses on satellite campuses. Mr. Speaker, this is the way of the future, and we need to grow and expand the consortiums And in my area, the Pembina Educational Consortium is a living example of excellence that continues to grow and evolve to meet the ever-changing needs of the citizens of Drayton Valley-Calmer. The forest industry continues to be experiencing many challenges and is no different in my constituency. The Weyerhaeuser OSB mill in Drayton Valley curtailed its operations last December. We need to work with communities and the forest industry to find innovative solutions and to help these communities be sustainable. There are many opportunities that we can look at, and I will be a strong advocate for innovation in the forest industry and sustainable communities. Mr. Speaker, many of the seniors I have spoken with are concerned about the rising cost of living while they are still living on fixed income. Our government understands that seniors built this province and have made it as great as it is today, and we need to remember their contributions and to help them age in their place of choice by supporting them to do so. I am incredibly proud to be from Alberta and to be standing in the same legislature to follow the footsteps of other women who have made their province proud. In my constituency alone, I have been preceded by my dear friend and wonderful mentor, Mrs. Shirley Cripps and Mrs. Cornelia Wood. Both these women were very hardworking and dedicated MLAs. While we were campaigning, Mrs. Cripps told me stories of how Mrs. Wood would ride on her horse from Stony Plain to Drayton Valley to meet with her constituents. Now that is dedication. Both Shirley and Cornelia are such wonderful examples to me and to all women of the true dedication and spirit of public service at its finest. I'm also very proud to say Alberta has always been very progressive. In fact, Louise McKinney and Roberta McAdams were first elected to the Alberta legislature in 1917, the first election where women were allowed to vote and run for political office. Women faced a great deal of criticism at the time for entering into politics, but Ms. McKinney quickly became known as one of the most capable debaters in the Assembly and really a mentor for many men and women to follow. I am inspired by the words of the late Mrs. McKinney. She called on women to dream big and to act honourably, and strongly believed that the purpose of a woman's life is just the same as a purpose of a man's life, that she may make the best possible contribution to the generation in which she is living. Mr. Speaker, I know that with the trust Albertans have placed in us, it will be all of our collective responsibility to think big and to act honourably as we plan with Albertans where we want Alberta to be now and into the future. We are the leaders of today that will shape the future of tomorrow. I am honoured and excited to be part of this team and grateful to the people of Drayton Valley-Calmer that they have entrusted me to represent them as their member of the Legislative Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.